Good afternoon, thank you, and welcome. My name is Gregg Tobo, and I have made my living now for the last 2.5 years performing medieval European magic. And if you're interested in that kind of thing, I will be performing at the Boulder International Fringe Festival in August. But one of the questions people always ask me, they say, Greg, do you know any Japanese magic? That's your heritage. And I have studied traditional Japanese magic, but I will perform a piece of it for you today. With the understanding, though, that Japanese magic is very different than Western magic, insofar as it is not about fooling you. The aesthetic for Japanese magic is simply that it be beautiful. So here is a beautiful piece of Japanese magic. It's called Nanking Tamasurare, which means, roughly translated, the magic of the bamboo mat. And the bamboo mat tells us of a story. The story is of a young man named Urashima Taro. One day, Urashima Taro was sailing in his ship across the sea when his ship was tossed in the storm, and he lost his way. And he drifted for several days, and finally, growing fatigued with hunger, he decided he needed to find some food. So he cast his line out into the water, and he fished for several hours, but after several hours, he had managed only to catch one small turtle. So he laid the turtle out before him, and he was about to cut the turtle open, when suddenly he felt very sorry for the turtle, and decided that rather than eat the turtle, he would take the turtle and drop it back into the water. Now, no sooner had he done this when a beautiful sea princess appeared before him. She said, Urashima Taro, I was that turtle whose life you spared. And because you were so kind to me, I would like to take you now beneath the sea to the underworld, to the undersea kingdom. So Urashima Taro swam with the turtle. They went far beneath the ocean to the very ocean floor, where he saw a large cave. He went into the cave, and inside the cave were all sorts of sea creatures, seahorses and crabs and fish swimming about. All of them were singing and dancing and eating delicious food. The sea princess took Urashima Taro to see the king of the sea. The king of the sea looked like this. And the king said, Urashima Taro, because you were so kind to spare my daughter, I will offer you her hand in marriage, and you may stay down here beneath the sea for as long as you wish. And Urashima Taro did stay beneath the ocean. For 3 days, he dined on the most delicious foods. He swam with his sea friends. But after a while, he began to grow homesick, and he wanted to go back to see his parents. Well, the sea princess said she understood, but before he went, she presented him with this box. And she said, Urashima Taro, this box contains something very precious, but you must not open the box. And Urashima Taro promised that he would never open the box. And she said, whenever you want to come back into the sea, just throw the box into the water, and I will come and find you. And Urashima Taro agreed, and suddenly fell into a deep sleep. And when he awoke, he found himself back on the beach outside his village. It was morning. The sun was just beginning to rise, and it looked something like this. So Urashima Taro roused himself. He walked into the village, but he was very surprised because the village did not look familiar to him anymore. And when he reached his home, he found that someone had hung a sign out front declaring that it was now a noodle shop. He went inside and spoke with the owner, and the owner insisted that he had been running this business here for over 10 years. And no one in the village seemed to remember anyone by the name of Urashima Taro. No one except one old man sitting in the back corner of the noodle shop. He said that he remembers his parents, speaking of Urashima Taro, who as a young man sailed off to sea and was never heard from again. And Urashima Taro began to realize that even though he thought he had been away for only 3 days, he'd actually been away for over 100 years. So distraught, he took a walk out by the temple gates, down by the river. And he was very concerned because he had no money, he had no friends, no family, he had no home, no boat. And he began to wonder what was inside that box that was so precious that the princess had given him. Perhaps it contained gold or jewels. And so he opened the box. But inside were only 2 pieces of paper. It was a letter from the princess saying that because he had opened the box, he would no longer be able to return to the undersea kingdom. And Urashima Taro sat down beneath the willow tree and he wept. Now, in the Japanese telling of the story, we are told that there were no frogs to keep him company beneath the willow tree. And to understand that, you need to know something about the Japanese language. In Japanese, the word for frog is the same as the word to return. So when they say there were no frogs, it meant that Urashima Taro would never be able to return. And that's the sad story of Urashima Taro and Nanking Tama Surare, the magic of the bamboo mat.